Hello again, welcome back. This is Dave with another X3 Terran Conflict video. I've been gone for a while, sorry about that, I've just been really busy. The last couple of days I've had some time to play X3 again, and it got me really motivated to make another video. This time around we're going to be looking at fleets and wing management. I originally made this video a couple of days ago, posted it, and got some excellent feedback both on YouTube and the EgoSoft forums. The feedback was so good that rather than make an additional video to explain some of the mistakes that I made and a better way to do that, I just decided to remake the video. So that's what this one is for. I can't pronounce some of the names who gave me the information. Honestly, some of them are just kind of hard to figure out. So to give proper credit, please check the forums, check the threads over at EgoSoft and both at YouTube, and I really appreciate it, guys. So up to this point, if you've been following along with the tutorials, you've probably had a handful of ships for combat duty, whether you've flown them yourself or remote controlled them, and you've probably been running combat-based missions, defense station, assassination, those kinds of things. And for something that small of a scale, that's just fine, because you can give orders to 2 or 3 ships and manage that pretty well. But if you're going to get into a larger scale combat, say invade a sector, you're going to need a lot more than just a couple of ships to be successful. So the overall goal of this video will be to invade Xenon Sector 101. And for something like that, you're definitely going to need more than a couple of ships, and that's where wings come in. So we're going to talk about setting up wings of ships and managing them, giving them orders, some basic ideas on weapons layout and combinations, and how to use them in the context of an invasion. So let's get started. Okay, in Terran Conflict, a wing is basically a group of ships that you decide, and it's grouped under the label of a color. So you can have the blue group, or the red group, or specifically blue wing or red wing, and it's a convenient way to address several ships at one time. So I'm going to pull up my properties window and right arrow over to wings, and you'll see that I already have a few of these set up. This is my gold wing as designated by the color, and it's labeled, and beneath this you see that I have 3 ships in this wing. They're all 3 centaurs. Next is the white wing, and I have 30 Vanguard ships that are docked on my Colossus in that wing. Next listed is the blue wing. I have 3 ships, including my Colossus, the Titan, and the Boreas. And then I have another division of Nova Vanguards in the silver wing. Basically, I took all 60 of my fighters on the Colossus and split them into 2 wings so that I can give 2 groups of fighters separate orders. And I may divide that even more later, depending on the needs of the type of invasion I'm going to be trying, and based on the experience that I gained from that. So, alright, the idea behind this is, obviously, this is the best example here. I've got 30 Nova Vanguards. Obviously, you don't want to give them orders one at a time in a sector in the middle of a heated fight. And I know you can broadcast to all, but what if I only want these 30 to attack, you know, this sector over here, and the other 30 to defend this ship against fighters? Well, that's going to take forever to give the orders. So once these are organized into a wing, if I select one of them and pull up the command console and say number 2 combat and attack all, that order will give it'll give that order to every single ship in that wing. So it's a very quick way of giving them orders. It works for every wing that you have. So any ship that I select in this gold wing, any order that I give him will be given to all 3. Any order that I give one of these ships will be given to all 30, and etc. Alright, so how do I set these wings up? Well, as was brought up based on feedback from the last video, and I didn't know this before, if you hit the P key for personal and scroll down to My Wings, you will have the Flight Wing Management screen. And this is very handy. Let's just start at the top and go down. Right now it's set to display any or all ships in the wing. If I select this, I can look at one specific wing. So let's pull up my blue wing, and now I only see ships that are in the blue wing. You can't give any orders from this screen, but I can manage the wing itself. So if I don't want the Titan to be in the blue, well, the Colossus is a good example because it's a carrier. If I don't want him in the blue wing, I can select him and move him to a different wing, or none at all. Okay, so let's go back to any. Let's check out the gold wing. Yep, nothing but M6s. If you want to do a search of, let's just say, you know, well, I just pulled up Centaurs. How many M6s do I have in a wing currently, or how many M6s do I have? This will pull up all M6s, and you'll see that I have 3 of them in the gold wing, and 1 of them is not in a wing, and that's the ship that I'm flying. But this is a great way to, you know, scout out if you've missed a ship that you really wanted in a wing or not, and you can add it from here. So if I want to add myself to the gold wing, I can do it just that easy. Alright, you can also group ships by current wing, and it'll literally group them by the wing. Most of the ships I have are not in one, but as you can see, as I get down here, they're all grouped together. You can group them by ship class, which is very handy. Again, similar to display ships of this class. You can also group them by sector. So if I know I had this ship in Aragon Prime, I can group it by sector, come down here real quick. There's my fueler. I can add him to the wing and then give a jump order to the wings, and he will jump with them. So again, this is probably the easiest way to manage your wings. But there are other ways. We're going to look at that also. You can also do this from the property screen. So if I come down here and select a ship, and go to the command console, if you page down one time, you'll be very close to the order. The label is wing control. You select add to wing, and then you just excuse me, pick a color, and you will add that ship to the wing exactly the same way as wing management. Another way is from the sector map itself. You can select any ship and do that. Now, I've picked up, based on some feedback, a couple of M8, I guess you call them bombers, 2 gladiator ships. And I'm going to try to use them in this invasion. So I'm going to go ahead and add them to a wing now from this screen, and it works from either. So I'm going to select this first gladiator, pull up the command console, add to a wing, and we're going to create a red wing. And now that you see in my sector map, the red wing shows up with 1 ship in it. So this time we'll go to the wing management screen, and let's display ships of only the M8 class. There we go. I have several gladiators that I've bought, but I only have 2 ready for this. Here's the second one. So I'm just going to select him here, add him to the red wing, and now I've got my red wing complete. There they are on the sector map. My red wing, gold wing, blue wing, my personal ship, and an extra one. I'm not even sure why I still have him here, but well, there you have it. That's the very basics of setting up the wings. And next we're going to talk about giving them individual orders, turret controls, and a little bit of coordination. I forgot to mention this, so I'm going to edit this in. We talked about adding ships to a wing, but we didn't talk too much about removing one, and there will be several occasions when you would want to do that. So it's pretty simple enough on the wing management screen. You just select the ship and select none, or a different wing if you want to move him. But if for some reason you're on the sector map and you just want to do it quickly from here, and you pull up the command console, You'll notice now that he is in a wing, it's slightly different. This time, instead of saying add to wing or remove from wing, it only says ships currently in wing. So to remove a ship from the blue wing, you'll literally come down here, select that ship, and then you have to choose leave wing. So it's a little bit more involved when you do this from the properties or the sector map than using the wing management. But I just wanted you to realize that it is a little bit different, and that can be confusing if you haven't seen that done yet. So, and this is where, as someone else pointed out, labeling your ships comes in very handy, because if I want to do this from here, you'll see that they're all labeled the same. I never numbered my ships, so it's hard to tell which one is which. And say this ship is got a specific cargo that I want sent back, and I don't want him involved in the fleet op. I can't tell which one is which. So just a good hint to, as suggested on the forums, number your ships when you have several of the same type of ship in your wing. It just helps things down the road. So, all right, moving on. So let's talk about giving orders to your wings. As I said before, if you select, well, on the sector map screen, you can actually select the wing itself and still call up the command console and give it orders. Or the unique thing about the sector map is when you do select the wing itself, you have a very quick access panel here. You can quickly just choose follow me, protect me, or attack all enemies, and that's very convenient. Those are three of the probably most common commands you'll give them. But then you can also call up the wing commands from here, which is the same as selecting C and choosing the command console. As I said before, when you select any ship in here, or select the wing itself and call up the command console and give it an order, let's say attack all, so to attack
Gold
all,
wing, command accepted.
you get confirmation of the order, and now that entire wing has that order. Of attack all. So let's change this real quick because I don't want these guys moving off. Navigation.
Gold wing, command accepted.
Okay. Some of the more specific commands you're going to want to deal with, besides just giving movement and combat orders, if you have a group of fighters that have like ion disruptors or shield-based weapons, you can literally give them the specifically give them the shield attack, and they will go after the shield of the target, which is very handy if you have a wing equipped for that. You can kind of keep them in the background, bring them out at the right moment. Of course, you can give the entire wing protect, and then select a target to protect. And if I choose this, it will give me options. The default is my ship. If I just hit enter again, they will protect me. If I want them to protect a different ship, you have to come in here and actually select it by sector. So be ready to do that if you're in a hurry. You can give a wing patrol orders, and that's just like, I'm pretty sure we talked about that in an earlier tutorial. You select your sector, and you can select your starting sector and add sectors to that, and that wing will continually patrol that group of sectors and engage any hostiles that they encounter. And you can tell them to just defend a position. Hey, stay here and protect it from any enemies that come within range. And you can read into these. These are pretty self-explanatory. So just a quick way to give specific orders to an entire wing. Now, one thing you're definitely going to want to deal with are turrets. So let's look at the Boreas. Right now, if I pull up the information on this ship, you'll see that he has loads of PPCs. But he also has PPCs in the turrets, which, if I don't give the turrets specific settings, I believe they default to attack all. I'm not 100% sure, but bottom line is give your turrets orders. If you don't, I guarantee you they're probably not going to do what you want them to do. So how do we do that? You select your ship, command console, and come down to turret control. So every ship in this wing, if I set all ships' turrets, it will set all ships in this wing turrets to the following command. You can select turrets to attack all enemies, protect the ship, attack my target. There are cases where you would want to use any of these 8 commands. If you have a smaller ship like an M6 and you have, let's say, HEPs in your turrets for missile defense, you want those turrets actually defending against missiles, and there's 2 options here. If you just select missile defense, they'll prioritize missiles, but they'll also fire at other enemy ships in range if a current missile is not coming in. If you select missiles only, they will only fire at incoming missiles. I can't prove this with any stats, but I'm of the belief that missiles only increases your chances quite a bit of defending against a missile attack, because I can only imagine if your turret is currently firing at a fighter or 2 that's quickly flying by your ship, at the same time a missile is fired, there's a small chance there, the ship will draw some of the fire from your turret away from the missile, therefore increasing its chances of getting through. So just something to keep in mind. If you're getting just totally beat up by missiles, you may want to put those turrets with a good weapon like a HEPT or energy. I'm not even going to tell you which weapons to use. I'm not 100% sure yet, but something with some decent damage and fast tracking. You may want to set it to missiles only. So just a thought. If you're getting beat up by fighters and you have some fast tracking weapons, you can tell them to attack only fighters. And this one's very handy for case in point, my Boreas, with all of those PPCs. The last thing I want is PPCs firing at a little M3 or M4, because number one, they're never going to hit it, and number 2, it's a waste of DPS that could be placed on a capital ship. So I could confine their firing to capitals only, and I'll probably do that. So this is an excellent command to keep in mind in your repertoire. I think that's pretty much it for basic orders. I think next we're going to fly into Xenon 101 and see if we can wreak some havoc. So I'm trying something new, first time on this video, which is never a good idea, but like I said, kind of experimenting and learning together. I'm really at the point of my experience in this game, so we're going to give it a try. I've got these gladiators, and I've got them fully shielded. I've got a pack which is a particle acceleration cannon, which is the max that they can have. And actually, yeah, why not? The key here is I've got him loaded with the missile that he's able to carry, and that's Tomahawk missiles. And these guys supposedly pack quite a punch in combat. So I'm going to find out how effective they are. Hopefully I can use them well enough to be able to see that. If not, either way, between my 3 large ships here in the blue wing, we're well overpowered to invade Xenon 101, so we'll be fine. Alright, I'm going to pause the video capture for just a moment, get everything, do one final check of all of my turret commands. Like I said, I'm going to probably set my turrets on the Centaurs. I still have Eyres in there, that's bad. I'm going to see if I have any HEPs or better weapons in the freight bay. If I do, I'm going to switch them out, but either way, I think we'll be fine. I'm going to switch those turrets on to missile defense for my Centaurs. I'm going to switch my large ship turrets onto capitals, and I'm probably going to remove the Colossus from this wing. Oh no, because I've got my fighters in a separate wing by themselves, so I can give them commands directly. So I'm going to get all this set up, and when I come back, we're going to fly into Xenon 101 and kick some Xenon butt, I hope. Okay, I ended up jumping back to Argon Prime to take care of a couple of little details. Let's get our ships into Xenon 101 and see what we can do here. I'm going to go over to my wings and start with the blue wing. The heaviest ships I have, they should hold out on the damage going in first, so we'll send them in to draw fire. Go ahead and give them a navigation command of jump to a jump gate, Xenon 101, North Gate. Shortly after that, let's get the Gold Wing in there with my M6s. I'm going to give myself the order.
Incoming message. Autopilot activated.
And then let's get the bombers coming in last, so hopefully they won't draw fire. Ah, you know what? I reloaded my game, so I'm going to have to do this real quick. Again. Okay. You know what? I'm not there. I have a feeling my Colossus is getting totally bashed. Yep, he's drawing fire. I'm going to go ahead and pull out a wing of fighters to protect him. Wow, this is taking me forever to jump in for some reason.
Jump device charging
Protect.
at 10%. 20.
Colossus.
30. 40.
Do this real quick before I jump.
50%. 60. 70. 80. 90.
Got it.
Jumping.
Oh, I hope I got them out in time. It looks like I may have already lost the ship. I'm not sure why
Entering
I got delayed there.
autopilot off.
Okay, my Boreas hasn't made it in yet for some reason. Fighters are
Xenon
putting a hurting
Q.
on this queue, though.
Attention, one of your ships is under attack.
Oh, yeah.
Xenon Sector 101.
Took him out quickly. Pull up the sector map real quick and see what's around me. It looks like the immediate vicinity is okay. I'm gonna go ahead and target the
Xenon
closest
Q.
queue. And I'm just going to broadcast to all ships in the sector
Command
to attack my
accepted.
target. Let's stop here and see. Attack target of me. Get that bomber on him and see what he can do.
Colossus. Attention, one of your ships is under attack. Xenon
Not sure why he hasn't made it in yet, but the
101.
Colossus and the fighters are just really mopping up, even without the Boreas, so we're okay. I did this kind of quickly because I realized they had jumped in by themselves and I didn't want to lose a big ship. You saw me give the wings, the silver and the white wing, which is nothing but
Target is
my
now
fighters. I gave
fired.
them the order to protect Colossus. So as soon as one of these ships fired on the Colossus, all of the fighters homed in on them.
Attention,
Let's launch
one
some of these.
your
I don't have my
ships
missiles
is under
loaded.
attack.
Don't make that mistake.
Xenon Sector
Those
101.
Okay, I'm out of range now.
Incoming message.
There we go.
You are being promoted. Nova Vanguard.
There we go. Down he goes. Yeah. Alright, yes, what I thought.
Colossus.
Colossus took a lot of damage there. And my Boreas finally makes it in. You're fired.
Titan.
Or Titan and Boreas.
Boreas.
Well, that was a little anticlimactic. That's going to take quite a while to repair. I wish my ships had jumped in a little bit closer together. I think part of that is the goal that I gave them was the gate, and they were both jumping in. All three of them were jumping into the gate, and they're all three large ships, so the one has to get out of the way for the other ones to jump in. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's why the delay was happening. Alright, well.
Incoming message.
Yeah, you finally made it to the party. Thanks. Okay, let's check the sector map and make sure yeah, incoming is just a couple of fighters, no big deal. You know, here I would just give one of these wings the command to take them out. I'm just going to hold off for a second and see if we've drawn the attention of any more large ships. Certainly appreciated the fireworks of seeing those PPCs take down those Xenon Qs. That was rather pleasant. Got to do a little bit of damage myself. If you saw the first video, I changed all of my weapons over from the mass drivers to energy bolt chain guns for a couple of reasons. I didn't even bring any mass drivers with me. The mass drivers don't do as much hull damage and not quite as much shield damage. Actually, 0 shield damage, but the cool thing about the mass drivers, as someone pointed out there at the forums, is that they bypass the shields and they go straight to doing hull damage. But they have a very short range, and that's why I wasn't really hurting anything. So I switched over to the energy bolt chain guns, which are ammunition based. And I've got 203, and you see the 203 under ammunition equates to over 40,000 rounds. So I guess you can think of these as you know, ammo boxes, cartridges, if you would, rather large. So it's a lot of ammunition to have, and as long as I have ammo in my freight bay, I can fire as much as I want. Alright, I'm going to pause the video and I'll be right back. Okay, well, I did lose a couple of ships that time. I lost one of my gladiators. Xenon Q got him, and I lost one of the Novas, so not too bad. And looking at the sector map, I haven't seen any more Qs or large ships come in, just a couple of fighters. I'm going to go ahead and clean them up now.
Silver Wing,
and
command accepted.
Well, speak too soon. No, just an L. So yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it's safe to say that we can clean this
sector 101.
This sector up fairly quickly, fairly easily.
Xenon N.
Well, I hope that was a little more clear and beneficial to somebody who has never messed with fleets before. I learned most of this in the process of actually making the video, and after posting the first one and getting some feedback. Yeah, I'm just wasting time here. Getting some feedback that really helped. Experimentation is definitely key. So get out there, get some ships, throw them in a fleet, experiment with their orders, and especially weaponry, and see how much damage you can cause. I think next, I'm kind of motivated and back into this game again. I think I'm going to find a deeper Xenon sector to get into with some larger ships to take down, and find something that's a little bit more of a challenge with this size of a fleet. Yeah, this blue wing alone just it seems to be ripping to shreds anything I throw at it. So, well, I think my Colossus would have been fine too if I'd gotten them all in at the same time. So I hope that helps. I think I've covered most of the topics about wings. If not, somebody give me a shout out on the forums and I'll try to include it in the next one. Happy hunting. See you next time.